Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 childhood toys that are now worth a fortune. So as kids, I'm sure you all had a ton of toys. They may have cost a few dollars back then and been very common, but today some of these vintage toys are actually worth a ton of money. From a few $100 to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Make sure you watch to the end to see if you own any of these toys. You never know, you could be a ton richer by the end of this video. But first, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 is Pokemon cards. I'm sure as kids we all had a ton of Pokemon cards, but no matter how big your collection is, you may not have these rare, very expensive cards. There are over 600 species of Pokemon and over 11,000 unique Pokemon card types. But who knows, there is a chance that you have some of these $1,000 cards. Back in the 90s, a Charizard card was a rare find, and some Poke fanatics would even sell them for hundreds of dollars. But today these sell for thousands and thousands of dollars. For example, a few years back, a Charizard hologram card was sold. It was a mint condition first edition Pokemon card released in 1999, and it actually sold on eBay for over $5,000. And if you guys are fortunate enough to have kept all of your Pokemon cards, then these could sell for a ton of money too. A few years ago, a complete first edition set sold for $4,600. And get this, another one sold for $8,700. Imagine turning Pokemon cards into a car. If you guys used to collect Pokemon cards as kids, then get hunting. Next up is Furby. Ah, Furbies, the classic 90s toy. I'm sure a lot of kids were given these for Christmas, but these were so creepy that some kids never even took them out of the box. Well, if that was you, then it turns out you're majorly lucky. That is because Furbies in their boxes can sell for hundreds of dollars today. For example, a limited edition Kids Cuisine Furby recently sold for $130. Another Furby from 1998 went for $405 pretty recently too. But the most expensive Furby ever sold went for $700. These all take place on eBay, and I'm really not sure who's paying hundreds of dollars for Furbies. But they are out there, so if any of you guys have an old Furby, put it online and you could be worth a few $100s extra. Next up is first and rare Harry Potter books. So everyone knows J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. Most people have read one of the books or seen one of the movies. And of course some mega fans read every book, watch every movie and even go to Harry Potter World. But far from 500 million, only 500 copies of the first edition Harry Potter books were printed. This of course was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The first 500 copies were printed and there was even a misprint in the writer's name. Instead of J.K. Rowling, it actually said J.A. Rowling. Now of course there are only 500 of these copies around. But recently one of these were auctioned off for $45,000. To put that into perspective, you could buy 10,000 Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone regular books with that money. So guys, if you have one of these old Harry Potter books lying around, then find it and sell it now. Next up is Red Vader. I'm sure as kids we were all fans of Lego, and who knows, maybe we're still fans of it today. If you were lucky as a kid, you likely had a big box of Legos. Well, if you do, then you ought to look through it, as you may have this rare Star Wars Lego toy. Everyone knows Darth Vader is famous for its black helmet. But did you know that Lego released one red prototype Darth Vader helmet, which is extremely rare? There's only 1 to 10 of these in the world, and recently one was sold for almost $10,000. That's right guys, it wasn't even a Lego figure, just a helmet. I don't know who paid for this, but it's gotta be one very rich nerd. Next up is Happy Meal toys. So nowadays Happy Meal toys make kids sad. They're pretty cheap and aren't as fun as they used to be, but back in the day kids went wild for Happy Meal toys. Well, if you have one particular 90s McDonald's toy, then you could be in for big bucks. Recently a collection of 4 Super Mario 3 Happy Meal toys sold for $400. Other toys sell for less, such as the Tiny Toons Adventure toy which sold for $64. And a set of 46 unopened Furby Happy Meal toys sold for just $56. But remember, these toys were a free gift with a meal, so at least you're making some money. It's still worth looking through these old toys as you could be making a bit of money. Next up is Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies were the great craze of the late 90s. But now, who knows, your Ty plush toy collection could be worth a fortune. That is if you kept the tag on it. In 2016, a Canadian blue elephant called the Royal Blue Peanut sold for $650. Also, a Korean Raspberry Patty Beanie Baby sold for $1,800, but that was only one of 780 ever made. And in 2017, a wingless Whacker toy was sold for $430. Unlike the Red Vader toy, it may not be thousands of dollars, but a few $100s for a small toy is a pretty good deal. Next up is Hot Wheels. For decades, young boys have loved playing with Hot Wheels. They were first released in 1995, and if you have one of these old toys, then you could be in for a lot of money. A 1967 Camaro Hot Wheels toy recently sold for $500, and a set of 12 Hot Wheels cars in the original box recently sold for $1,500. So if you guys have any of these old Hot Wheels toys lying around, then sell them ASAP. The set of 12 toys that were sold for $1,500 was called the Treasure Hunt series, but it looks like these toy cards have now turned into literal treasure. Next up is Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So after Pokemon cards, the second most popular card game as kids were Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They were absolutely huge and very confusing, but it turns out some of these cards can now be worth thousands of bucks. A first edition Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon booster box was sold for $1,450 recently. And guys, that is just one of many very expensive Yu-Gi-Oh cards up for sale. Just a quick eBay search reveals tons of these very expensive cards being sold. So if you guys have any of these old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, then maybe try selling them. Next up is Super Soaker. So as kids, I'm sure we all loved Super Soakers. In the summer, there was literally nothing more fun. Now, many of these Super Soakers took a lot of damage, and many of the plastic parts ended up breaking or cracking. But if you guys were able to keep yours in a good condition, then you could sell it for a lot of money. A vintage Super Soaker Monster XL was recently sold for $500, but it turns out even some used Super Soakers can sell for big bucks. A used Super Soaker CPS, known for being the most powerful Super Soaker ever, went for $300 recently. So if you guys happen to have an old Super Soaker lying around, then do some research, as it may be worth a lot of money. Next up is Polly Pocket. If you were a lucky young girl in the late 90s, you may have had a Polly Pocket. I'm sure many of the girls watching remember these commercials and would have dreamed of opening one of these on Christmas Day. However, many girls weren't given them as they were pretty expensive, but today they're even more expensive. A sealed Polly Pocket jewelry case recently went for $600 online, and if you have a Polly Pocket Dream Home, these can sell for upwards of $500. It seems crazy that a used toy can sell for that much money, but it can. So if you guys happen to have an old Polly Pocket toy or any of these other toys on this list, then research online as you could be worth a lot more money. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for your favorite childhood toy on this list. And if you guys want to check out some more awesome videos, then why not go over to my second channel? There'll be a link to that on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.